Welcome back to the Coin King channel. I am your host, Down to Crypto TA. We got a little bit of our sell off here again, which is okay. We only dropped from the golden pocket down to the 786 in this case. I was looking for some liquidity to be taken from this zone right here to see if we could potentially just pop our heads back up above that golden pocket, and we didn't. And so we grabbed the liquidity from this section here. Yeah, so we grab this liquidity right here, which also sits with the 786 golden pocket retracement level. We did lose this momentum line down to here on the lower time frame. The daily time frame may still try to reclaim it, but yeah, not too, you know, not too great to start things out. But again, 786 bounce is what we have right now. Prior to that, we had the golden pocket kind of bounce right here, a little small bounce right there. Now we're here. All three time frames are a little bit overextended to the downside. The 15, 1 hour, and the 4 hour, all showing that they're a little bit overextended. Like I said to you yesterday, if this wasn't considered to be, if this wasn't going to be the local low, then we're somewhere close to it based on the 4 hour time frame anyway. I still think we're going to get a little bit more of a relief bounce in here off of that 4 hour time frame. And then at some point, the daily time frame will start to set in a squeeze, will start to contract, and then we'll see some sort of an expansion take place on that daily time frame. All right, here we go over here on the 4 hour here. Nothing different here, 786 again. And this is the 786 is drawn from this low here up to this high. We do have the sell side liquidity down through here with our next momentum line through here. But if we can hold through here right now, simply because we are a bit overextended, then we can see a little bounce back up here, probably just back to the golden pocket for now. This is the daily time frame with that same momentum line down through here. Actually, I think this one might be a little bit different. This is the one that I had in here for. I had it. I extended it out yesterday just so I didn't have to move it anymore, and I had noticed this one in here. Also, I noticed this one, just like this right here, and we got that bounce off of that golden pocket, 200 EMA, 20 SMA on the daily time frame. Um, so yeah, we're starting to break through these a little bit though. This is the bottom side of the bear flag right here. And we are seeing the rise from the Bollinger Bands on the lower side. That's why I said once we start to contract, then we start looking for price to actually break down. But there's no contraction right now. For the most part, there is no contraction. Maybe we tap just into the same thing I was looking at yesterday. Maybe this golden pocket in here with the lower portion of the club foot. I'm gonna call it the club foot, rising wedge, bear flag, whatever you want to call it. But it is a ascending triangular formation in here. Um, not an ascending triangle. It's probably not a good way for me to say it. Someone might think it's foolish. But the pattern is making higher lows for the time being. We're still putting in the higher lows, and we're still putting in the higher highs in here. So decision time. It doesn't look like it's decision time to me just yet, because there's no contraction in here just yet. Rising nonetheless, and it looks like we're gonna start to put that in here. Maybe not today, maybe come Wednesday. I still don't have any updated data for the options, so I won't be able to cover that. It won't update until market opens, unfortunately. That's just how it is. It only shows the information when the market is open. So things are gonna still stand the same when I take a look at that. Daily, we are with our weekly time frame. Look back over here, 88.7, 88. Okay. Okay, so the idea here would be that we would need to hold this golden pocket. Somewhere around this golden pocket is where we're going to need to hold. If we're coming down here to the second check mark, then we've already failed the weekly time frame. So If we're coming if with the drop back down, this is what we need to see us hold. Now it does it does affect the higher highs, meant the higher lows. It will affect the higher lows in here. But again, another little bounce in here. Maybe it builds some sort of a head and shoulder right here off of this bear flag structure, and then prices get a drop down. But just looking back over here at this weekly time frame, the golden pocket is going to be everything to us because we want to be able to hold this trend line through here, the one that we've been bouncing off of for the past few weeks. Also, we have our weekly lower level in here. Our standard one in here on the weekly is at 88,843. So that golden pocket is going to be everything. We start to lose this right here. Plus, it's going to invalidate whatever strength may have been coming in from momentum. It's going to invalidate that if we do that too. And then you can see the current rejection from the back test of the trend line that we had to break out of. We did try to bounce a little bit right here. We tried. I'm looking at right here on the MACD, just trying to see if we're going to start going sideways, which we could do. Right now, MACD is still below a negative 100. Once it pulls back into a negative 100, then we may just be pinned and consolidating, going sideways like we've been doing prior to market open. Let's see Ethereum. Gonna have to zoom out for Ethereum. Let's see what we got here. Not really any relief for Ethereum just yet. This is still support level in here. And let me get rid of some of these lines in here now. All right, maybe I could have left the line in here, right? Let me just rework these lines. But this was some pretty decent support for us prior on this little pullback that we got right here. So this could continue to act as some general support for Ethereum for a little while here. If I need to modify anything, I may have needed to keep this line here. I can see that, and that may have been where we started to chop it out a little bit. Let me see. Just want to make sure that wasn't it. It looked like that could have been what we chopped around a little bit. It doesn't matter. It's broken anyway. Losa. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. That is nice. I jumped into another one too. I didn't get stopped out on the one that I had prior on Blowfin, which is about 90,524. So I'm hoping I don't get stopped out on that one either. So it's holding right now. It might scoot back down there and get us and then come back up. Might not go too far down though. I don't think it'll go too far down. It's really overextended. I'm just gonna change that one. So we could look for this area right here to continue to hold as support. Maybe Ethereum just comes down and takes out some liquidity right here and then gets a second little bounce up here. It might do like I'm thinking with Bitcoin, could just put in a head and shoulder in here. I do want to do this neckline right here. Look at that formation. As far as this chart is concerned, we're just about tapping the lower side, what we were talking about before, which is like 3,084, and I can see that we went as low as 3,081. So we are still holding the lower side of our range in here. This line right here, ugh, and it's no good. So I'll get rid of that. So all of that momentum that was coming up, that's already been invalidated. I wonder if I only need to rework this level right here. Okay, yeah. So we're kind of holding on to that high volume node. That's the same as that blue box that we were looking at on the I think it was the 4 hour time frame. It's about the same as this right here. So we're holding some support right now for Ethereum. We'll see how long that lasts. Uh, Solana just continuing to perform like trash right now. You know, meme coins are down, Solana's down. This is the next area in here for Solana. I'm not sure why I put the white box in here right now, but the momentum line is down here. It's a bit lower down, about around about 126 here for Sol. I can go ahead and do away with um, this. Go ahead and do away with that. Go ahead and do away with previous day levels too, because I'm not able to keep up with those. I'll keep previous week low in here. Let's see what we got. Oh, geez. Why do I feel like I'm missing something? Okay, so on the weekly level, we just lost this one again. So we can look for our 119.20 to hold again. If we're not holding 119.20, let's just say that things are about to get worse, which I still think that there's one more little petty bounce in here. But if things are about to get worse, then our next level for Solana is going to be around 108 to 96. I do have the additional levels. I just haven't had them on here. I haven't had a need to use them. I haven't even dragged these levels out. I don't even know if I've streamed with these levels in a long time, but they remain the same for Solana. So in that case, I would just look back down here towards the 119.20, and past 119.20, we're talking 108 to 96, $96. This might be, and just see if it's doing anything similar to the others. Okay, so golden pocket, potentially 786. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that all the way down to the low though. All right, so golden pocket back test right now. I'm hoping that this would hold. I don't know what would make it happen, but probability for an inverse right here, especially coming off of the back of a falling wedge. more like a falling channel. Um, could see something like that. And we'll be sure to invalidate it quickly if it's like it's not going to happen. But so far, um, we're losing what we need to be holding. That's for sure. So we really do need to hold the golden pocket here for Solana, and then that would give that push back up here and possibly have that inverse head and shoulder. MACD suggests that we're just still sideways and consolidating, which is basically just all of this down through here. I'm going to take this away. And since that is the case, I'm just going to draw, let's see, before I do that. So that value area low is still sitting here, about 123. This could actually, give that. You can even see it right here. Maybe potential for a little small inverse head and shoulder right here for Solana. I'm going to change this line. Oh, we know Solana really doesn't have a lot more room to the downside. Otherwise, it will be, it start to get kind of crazy. So we already did a back test on this one. I'm gonna go ahead and drop it now. Oh, that's nice, Loza. Dash short too. That's really, really good. Yeah. Good old Dash. Good old Dash. I got caught yesterday. I forgot to cancel out my limit loan that I had for Monero because Monero had already got the move up from where I had my limit loan, and I forgot to cancel it. And then, without paying attention to the chart anymore, I just so happened to decide to look back at it before I ended the stream and realized that Wreck City, Wreck City. I was really about to cry about that Monero situation. I don't know why. I don't know. I just simply forgot. But that's a nice call on you from for Dash. Really good call. So hopefully Dash is going to return to the mean, which is going to be around $55. I hope that's the case. Also a little double top in here too, possibly. This right here. It's a double top right here. So return to the mean at 55.01. At least that's what it is today. And then possibly continue to move back up here. I'm sure actual measured move from the top side of the M is going to be a little bit lower. But if I was looking at something, I guess it would just be around about this mean. And so And I think I had to make the adjustments again in here this morning, I believe, for Dash. It continues to change ever so slightly, but it is up to date, and that would be your mean revert here at 55. Also, uh, Monero is just a sinking ship. At Tesla's at Golden Pocket the other day. Yeah, the other day, just back to it again. Continuation down here towards the mean, which is currently somewhere around this 52.33. I'm sorry, $523 here, but possibly 786. Usually though, it'll come back to wherever it started this uptrend up for the most part. And that's going to be somewhere down in here. If the whole move was just bogus, and that was the only reason why Monero pumped was a little scam alert situation, the scam situation, then that could be the final destination back down here. And kind of stable. I haven't looked back at it today. I drew that out yesterday, and it's just still kind of hanging around in this thing. So cool. Rose did get the move up. I didn't even look back over here. Rose, we talked about a potential short on Rose, and hey, how about that? And we talked about dust too. Let's see if the dust can. And I put that. Where did I put it at? I thought I put a where is it at? Oh yeah, I moved it. I moved it yesterday. That's what happened. I moved this from here. Was looking at the potential short from this golden pocket right here initially for Dash, and then I moved it up here, and then I moved this up here. So Dash one, that's on me because I did move that instead of keeping it organically how we had it the first time, which would have been like this with the back test of the golden pocket. Yeah, I adjusted it because of the 4-hour time frame. Me thinking maybe the 4-hour come up a little bit higher. So I put it on the top of the 4-hour candle and take profit levels through here. So might still be a thing. Put it like this now and see what happens. Might still be a thing. Just back on 15 and see if that's gonna. If it works, I'll come back and entertain it. Um, or if, once it gets up here, I'll come back and take a look at it. And the other one was power. And what's the thing with power? But that was for you, Loza. The power. The power hasn't made it all the way up here just yet. And I did look at what you were saying. What you were saying once you got off stream yesterday, and I went to drawing out my rays on it. I was like, man, I missed this one right here, right here. But I still think that the best opportunity is going to come from some sort of resistance. But that could have still been your little short through here because it doesn't look like it's getting up here right now. Because it's this one and the other one. I turned this path off because it was irritating me. But it's this and this. So it's 4-hour. I know. That was it. Let's back over here to Diddy. Let's say I wish. You do good. You do good. Switch this. Come on. What am I doing? Being weird. I don't know why it's starting to look very corrective. This is probably just hitting the 50 right now. I would definitely make that a TP. At least one TP there, and then it may just only drop right here and then turn around. At least it's starting to look that way for close. It won't get all the way down here to the trend line that we were looking at. Um, Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm gonna come back down. All right. So gold, I don't think you're gonna get much of a pullback in here on gold. I know I said to you yesterday, gold comes in, gets above this line right here, just kind of see how it reacts around the zone right here. It's a little bit extended in here right now with the X up here. Um, trying to get a, it's trying to give it a little bit of a push down, but it may not, like I said, it may not come too far down. May not. Might only do like a gap fill or something like that, but it looks like it uh, will maintain above this red line in here. Yeah, yeah, that mean, yeah, it may only just come as much as inside here for this gap fill, and then continue on its merry way, and then the next level remains the same. So 48, 4806. I don't think had to make any changes or anything like that. Gold. Silver just starting to break through our line here. And of course, the next level in here for silver is 99.52. So you might as well say 100. Since it's such an even, 100 is an even number, it's a psychological level. Some reaction is bound to come from that. So no gap fill here just yet. Looks good. Looks like it just keeps climbing, and it'll come up to here, at least into here. This is the last 2 levels currently. I'd definitely say 100. Copper, has not gotten back above. It broke the other 2 that I had in here. There was the one that was through here, and of course, it gapped up to there, and then there was another one across here that just got through. This is the last one right here, though. Um, but still just kinda sideways at best here for copper. And it it's holding. It's holding right now. That's about it. It's just sideways, um, and just sideways. I really don't think copper's gonna lose the support. Don't think it's gonna lose that support. Yeah. I mean, and copper again already did this mean reversion here, which is the blue line in here. Um, yeah, I think it's just buying a little bit of time to try to push back out. If there's anything else in here to, this isn't happening just yet. Okay, so, yeah, gold is when it comes to that. Silver. Yeah, we'll check back in. All right. Bitcoin. Chilling, chilling, chilling. I should go ahead and move into Doing the stock picks. Okay, thank you. I don't really trade metals. Okay, do you think 92,000 is it before another leg down? Do I think 92,000 is it before another leg down? Um, I'm not sure which chart you're using when you're saying the 92,000. As far as this low is concerned right here, uh, I think we're gonna hold. It's a good chance that we can hold this low that we just made in here for another little boost back up. How high do we get? We probably won't get back above. I mean, it's gonna take some strength to get back above on the Binance chart, yeah, which is 92.5, about 92.538 right now. That means the entire daily candle has to eat its own tail, which at best we could get like a hammer candle. I can say more once market opens, really. I mean, we're still, I think that we still are still, net positive as far as the options are concerned, which means it's just about a dip opportunity, and we'll get pushed back up towards, wherever that highest strike is at, which at the time was where we got our rejection from up here, which was the golden pocket. So that would theoretically put us back somewhere in here if that happens, but it won't be in like a single day. It won't be in a single day. If we're holding where we are, which I think we have the potential to hold where we are, this is the line in the sand as far as the daily time frame is concerned. The low that we just made is a line in the sand as far as the daily is concerned. Maybe the next few days going into Friday, we'll be back up here. Those are the use BTCC. Oh, okay, Ninja Trader account. Okay. Well, you can trade them on BTCC. Yeah, so like with the this has basically been the same. It's not going to change until market opens, but you know, here in the green, market is still net positive, which means, I mean, market makers are going to hedge. They're going to hedge short and through here, but they're going to and that's just to stabilize price action, but they'll only do it really once they get into one of these places like this, like this strike price right here could pose as some sort of a major resistance area for them, and then they'll start to sell that rally, but they're buying. They're buying because we're still net positive. If that's still the case, when markets open today, we're still within net positive territory, and that dip is being bought up, and it's just gonna push price back up. For this next batch of, expiries for this Friday, which is probably, again, gonna be, calls. At least I don't think right now we've made our way down into here. We're starting to, build a little bit more liquidity overhead too. So we have all this buy side liquidity. And, I don't really see I'm not really, confident in how good the CBD is for coin glass, um, but yeah, I don't see any CBD divergence. The last time we got some was, I think it was this right here. We got the bearish CBD divergence right here. And from there, we've just been rolling down. I can't tell which one of these makes sense. And this was the last CBD divergence we had. Bearish CBD divergence right here. We've just been rolling down since then. I don't see anything right now. No bullish CBD, no bearish CBD either. Got more loans coming in, which isn't good because that's just building liquidity below us. That Cheers Island, I'm assuming that's I don't know how to really read that. Could you elaborate? Yeah, Before it started low, so you're really good. Potty mouth, if you can make your question clear, I can answer it for you. All right, so while I'm waiting on Bitcoin, we are just kind of like back to sideways. Like I said, if MACD is back above 100, and if it stays in here right between 100, negative 100, and positive 100, then we'll just be ranging sideways. Yeah, we'll just be ranging sideways for the most part. Right. So Apple made its way down here to our next momentum line down through here. Lost that golden pocket, and of course we looked at the little flaggy situation in here, a little bear flag situation. We'll see how it goes when market opens. We have 786 just below this momentum line through here. Apple is really underperforming. I'm gonna push us out on a. Let me go to a 4-hour time frame. This is that trend line right here. So we're back at right now for Apple. Not looking good. We got a VWAP test right here also. Hopefully this holds. Hopefully it does. And get a bounce on the Apple at least back towards this trend line. Back up here for the daily, which is going to take some time for it to play out if it's going to hold. The last time, let's see, we hit this one. I just want to see what we did. Yeah, last time we came into we expected to do what the last time to from that point to here. So hopefully that remains the case from this point until we'll have to consolidate here for a couple of days holding this in order to see that move back up here for Apple. So for now, it seems like a good place for Apple to seems like a good replacement level. Retracement area for a hold. NVIDIA, last mentioned the gap here on NVIDIA. I think this gap came from, was it a weekly? Yeah, it's from a weekly time frame, this gap right here. So we basically just come back in here, fill in this little gap, common gap in here. And it looks like we already did our back testing here up the top side of our trend line as well. Um, with the volatility rising, I mean, I can see the desperation for us to be able to hold need for us to hold. Actually, it would probably be we need to hold above this. I'm losing my voice. This gap fill right here. Um, the rise in volatility would suggest that price would come back down here towards the lower side of this trend line, though. Um, I'm over here. I'm sorry. On the daily time frame, missing everything. So we're inside the gap fill. So there's a need for us to hold the gap fill. And the rise in volatility was never mind. At best, I guess we have to hope that this doesn't overshoot and it pushes price back up. That one right there put in a little bit of a bullish divergence right there on that one. This one right here overshoot, and then it gave a little bit of a push higher there. So it is outside of the lower band. Just sideways right now. If you were considering a long, I would definitely put my stop loss just below this wick right here, and then maybe it does come back in just to the top side of the wedge. I'm just gonna have to throw out the idea. I had kept saying that within here that this was a possibility that this was still a way for, and that Robinhood would see one more leg to the upside. Right now, it doesn't seem to be the case for Robinhood. Now that we have actually finally come down here and broken the bottom side of now that we have finally broken our ascending trend line from the lows in here. $65 is still my base case as far as the low goes for Robinhood. Maybe 65 bucks. Oracle looks like it's finally starting to show that rejection. And remember, for Oracle, 150 is still on the table for Oracle. We've just been slow grinding trying to get there to this 150. But this was what we initially looked at with Oracle. To 150. AVGO hasn't gotten too far since the last time I discussed this one, saying that I was now looking for the bounce from the gap, and so we've just been chopping up through our prior trend line of support. So good call on the short and good call on the bounce. Oh, it's back. Projection from the mean. Mm, I'm gonna have to find the correct chart I need to use for you. With go ahead and do that. We got the bounce from that already. The correct chart I need to use for you when it comes to coin. This isn't the one. I know that we are still within an ascending broadening top. I don't think that this was the one that I was using. This wasn't the chart that I was using though. This was another strong call for the short on this one right here. Quite a while back. Quite a while back. Maybe we'll make our way all the way back down here towards the lower bound of the ascending Bottom formation, which this is typically something that's bearish. And if we are within a bear market for Bitcoin, I would assume that coin would at some point finally break down from this ascending Broadman formation. We've been in this thing forever, forever, forever. I would add to my bag if we did manage to get back down here for coin. So far, we've basically managed to shop around this monthly pivot right here. I guess there's no need in me talking about strategy, getting into these levels in here again. Just because whatever Bitcoin is doing, since it's so heavy to Bitcoin, it'll probably do what Bitcoin does. So far, still managing to hold these support levels every time we drop into one of them. Every time we back test one, we manage to get some sort of a little bounce back out of it. So still, this is still support in here, at least until it breaks 139, and then it starts getting support, and then the next level down below is going to be about 105 for strategy. There's nothing but space in between here, which is why I was saying this area in here. But if it's following Bitcoin, then I guess we'll just stay pinned somewhere closer to these support levels in here. TSLA, I still haven't taken this off the chart yet. Um, I think I did see something on Tesla in here. Let me just double check. No, I don't have anything. No unusual volume, no unusual options activity. Like nothing on TSLA at the moment. I mean, this is still within strength. We just broke below this, our channel, our ascending channel, trend line is still within strength. I do still acknowledge that I told you repeatedly, week after week, that there is, the only unusual activity, unusual volume activity that came through for Tesla was for it's for a price target of 315, and that was supposed to be probably about 1 month, 1 month left leading into, that target. Whether or not it gets there, that remains to be seen. So far, every time we've seen it and I've discussed it, it has come to fruition, so we'll just have to see if that remains the case. That doesn't look good. That looks like that it would continue. And I think the 115 might still be on, you know, and still be the thing for Tesla. This is the mean reversion down here as well. So we just broke below here. We're trying to reclaim it right now. I deleted all the other targets that we had in here on Tesla. Doesn't look like we're gonna make it to the last one, which was for the 86.63. Uh, keep rolling over. We need to hold. We need to change structure. If we do lose this level and we do start to change market structure, then we have to look down here. We're around 40-ish bucks for Tesla. We basically looking sideways at this point. So yeah, this is going to be our target somewhere down here around 40. PG. Still doing good. Still looking for that target of 180. So far, still holding up. So not too far to go if we're going to get it. PG. Yeah. Still looking pretty good. We're doing some sort of a correction before we get there. We are doing some sort of a correction before we get there. So, but I still think that it continues up and we get into that 180. But it's near correction. If it didn't do it for it, it's definitely near correction. With Lulu, there's really nothing to expect from Lulu except to continue to go sideways for a while. It's gonna take some time before Lulu starts to, push higher. Right now, I am still looking at 258, but, given the sell-off and how long it takes, for price action to really show that it's reversing, um, 256. I think when I did my initial analysis, Lulu, yeah, I think it was from the weekly time frame, and that's what we're looking at in here. Because we got the bounce off of the 200 EMA. We just got tested at 10 EMA. So yeah, we're just still chopping sideways in here for Lulu. If it comes back down, I would want it to hold, you know, 189.95. If it were to break back below this 5 EMA that is, then I would want it to hold 189. I want it to stay as close to this 5 as possible. GE. I don't have any new targets for GE. Um, and as you recall, I wasn't even confident in GE when GE was down here. We measured it out for the target here, and we did have the unusual volume activity for GE that suggested that price would come up here to this target, but I wasn't confident in it actually getting it done, and it did. And I haven't seen anything else surrounding GE at that point. Might be bear div in here on GE. Um, and you were also going to be buying the top on GE, so that was a major concern for me. But this one, weekly time, I mean, everything still looks good. Everything still looks strong. It is bear diving. Yeah, I mean, GE still looks really strong. If it does get a correction, it'll probably just continue to range within the trap here. So 286 would be about as you get out of it. And may not even get to 286, but each time it does get the pullback, it tends to um, only come back to the standard one. I most certainly wouldn't be buying it. I'm going to not talk about it. If it starts to pull back, then we can look at another long opportunity on it. But it's ugh. Yeah. So pre-market for Palantir, we are at standard one. It's been holding here every other time. Let me take a look back at my artwork. Might decide to take a long on this one. The market open. Got this bounce. Very minor. Delete it. Palantir does very well with respecting Fibonacci retracement levels, golden pocket especially. We've already broken through this one. Yeah, I think once market opens, I'm gonna take a long opportunity on Palantir. My stop loss will be for this wick low right here. Depends on how fast we come out of the gates. Otherwise, I know I'm wrong, and we're actually gonna see prices go a little bit lower. Or maybe it just might sit a little bit, but we've stayed like, we've held this since 2023. 2023, we've stayed within this trap. Imma take a chance, and if I'm wrong, then that means that Palantir is preparing for a mean revert, which would be wherever the 20 SMA is supposed to be located at, which I don't have on right now. Uh, it could. It could make a mean revert all the way back down here to 107. Uh, over time, this will probably change a little bit, but, be this or this wick right here, that one or this one together with this would probably be something like that. If not that, then it would be, something like this right here. But it has held it, like, a few years now, a couple of years now. So, yeah, I'm risk on. I like it. AMD, up here. Um, I think AMD might be setting up for a short over anything. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that it's probably setting up for a short. Keep this how it is. It's possible that it comes back up and then finds rejection in here, but it looks like it doesn't actually break to the upside out of this formation. We got this is prematurely drawn out, I would have to say. Um, initially, I can't remember why I did this line the way I did. Uh, seems to respect it though, because it did break it. Reclaim, back test, back test. Yeah. I'm looking for something more so like this right here. And maybe we come back down here and test this again. At best, I'll do it like that, but I don't think that this actually breaks to the upside. If it does, then, um, I would have to assume that it gets back here to this weekly level here. And I'm gonna watch this one for a short. I think it would be a good short opportunity on AMD though. We're still just consolidating on Bitcoin. Intel. Okay, Intel is almost back at okay, make sure I didn't see anything on Intel. Thank you, Loja. You're the best. Alright, so Intel's put in the bear div. Could look for an SFP on Intel. If it's bear div, and then it's bound to likely put in an SFP. Drop down to 6. I think I have to, let me see. I think I might have to update this. Um, look out for something like this on Intel with the bearish divergence through here. Got a cloud cover as well. Cloud cover typically suggests that price will roll over. Sometimes price will break through sometimes RSI will break through a cloud cover, but if it breaks through, then it just has to invalidate the bear div. And you got nothing in here. But if it doesn't manage to do so, then we could be looking for a rollback down. I'd like to really get the SFP in here on Intel though. Novo continuing to look good, continuing to look decent. I still think we're just going to be pretty sideways in here for Novo for a little while before we actually see prices manage to rally back up here. At least half of this sell off through here for Novo. I hope you bought Novo with me. We definitely bought this, and I think Nova was another one that was hitting the EMA at the same time as well. It's not from this time frame, it's from the monthly time frame. Yep, the 200 EMA is what we were hitting on Novo at the time when I said it's a good buy. It's a good buy, and I definitely bought Novo here. So, and we also looked at the inverse head and shoulder. That was a measure move for the inverse head and shoulders, which I already played out with that little portion there. Wherever that was the inverse. Looking good. Continues to look good. Best Buy continuing to break down. It did manage to reclaim back above here for a short period of time. I really don't have anything on Best Buy. Move past Best Buy. I just haven't taken it off my chart. Walmart did get the rejection. Um, and it did not last long. Hmm. It did not last long. Really got nothing for Walmart. I know Walmart is trading within the trap as well, and has continued to do so. Um, very much like Palantir, but it's had its moments where it's actually deviated closer towards the mean. It's back at the top right now, so it's pretty strong. Not nothing here but to attempt another, take another short attempt, in my opinion. Anytime it's at the top, that's my thoughts. RSI 80 still got the bear div through here. Might be looking to break above here. Squeezing, still squeezing through here. I think Walmart is just to continue to look to short this thing. I have no control over it continuing to push higher and higher, but I will continue to um, look to short Walmart as long as it's not operating outside of this band. Um, it can pull back in, and I think that that's going to cover. Yeah, I think that covers everything. Eli Lilly. We didn't really get into Eli Lilly. I think the only reason why Eli Lilly was being looked at was because of Novo. Yep, and that was that. Yeah, I did chime. I did not look at Nike. I don't think anything changed in here for Nike. It's still holding. What was the situation for Nike? Um, I think the 6 month was more important to me with Nike. We're just holding inside on Nike. Some sort of a triangular formation here between this mother bar right here and these two inside candles. Some sort of a triangular formation. I think that we were on. That's where we were at. Yeah, yeah. Nike basically looks the same as it did the last time I looked at it. 6 months. Yeah, Nike's in the same place. I still think that Nike is could be a bargain in here. Um, the only thing that I mentioned on Nike is that it would be a risky play considering how much Nike has sold off, and that Nike has the potential since it always tends to come back to that one VWAP, which sits down here at 21.28. I think that's where I don't have it in here, but oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is. It always tends to come back to VWAP. Whenever it gets a correction, it comes back to VWAP. A strong sell-off, it comes back to VWAP, and that's the only thing I mentioned about Nike. And you have to really believe in this company to wager bet of buying it right here because it does quite often come back to this major pullback. And I think I did a comparison when I posted on it. I have to go back and review the post. Anyway, I'll cover that post again that I did because I don't think I saved the notes in here. But yeah, I didn't save the notes in here, so I just have to go back and cover the post that I did on Nike that breaks down everything you need to know about Nike. All right, I think we're kind of stuck here with Bitcoin. Like I said, we're just consolidating at this point, waiting for market to open. Uh, 15 1 hour 4 hour showed that they were extremely overextended. We're trying to get a grip on this bottom right now, this low for this 4 hour. We haven't actually crossed a major threshold. I can see right now the resistance that we're hitting off of the 1 hour time frame that we need to get above in here, which is like 91,241 right now. You say 91,242 at the moment for Bitcoin's 1 hour. As long as we continue to hold this 786, as long as we continue to hold this 786, we're okay. We lose the 786, we're gonna fast track to that. to this momentum line right here and this golden pocket right here off of this daily time frame. We'll look to re-enter if something like that happens. If we do lose this, we do lose this. I will look to re-enter to a long position right here. This liquidity is more major in here as well. But again, maybe it's just a small little bounce and we put in a head and shoulders. Maybe that's what we do right here. We do that. Then we come down here for this liquidity. We're gonna have to wait and see what the options is looking like. See what gamma, how big gamma exposure is looking like. All right. Also, before I go, there's been no change with XRP. Put it on the 4 hour. No change with XRP so far. Still holding the lower side of the weekly range in here, which is 192.18. Uh, I like it as long as it's holding in here. If it breaks and reclaims, I still like it again. But aside from that, next level to the downside is the 162. I don't think that it's managing to get down there anymore ever since it had got that October 10th wick down. It hasn't managed to come back down there towards that level. So for now, you're just kind of in between that 192.18 up to that 213.87 here for XRP. If it does start to drop, I would expect for them to want to come for the liquidity. Got some pretty equal lows down through here. So again, equal lows do make some really great liquidity. And if I drop this one, I just look at this liquidity across here. Let's see if it took this. Yeah. So coming back in for this liquidity through here seems about right. And then I look for a bounce up from there. ADA, still doing the ADA-ish stuff. For the sake of ADA, I just wanted to turn on the 0.886. It's just not looking good for ADA. If the market's gonna do anything, if it's gonna do anything to the downside, it'll reclaim, maybe possibly reclaim, the rest reclaim this wick again. Maybe even take the liquidity off of that. Hopefully leave this alone, but maybe just take the liquidity off of that. If it does drop down below that 0.886, I will look for it to come back up to 0.886 before I get enticed along ADA, because ADA is just really in a bad place right now. Really bad place, hanging around this most important trend line. The most important thing for ADA is this line right here. And the way it keeps chopping it, I mean, it's just not a good look. So you need to see some sort of strength from ADA to really want to mess with ADA like that. See, jump right over height. Okay, so we've already lost the weekly level there for C, and then the let's try a fib on it. Okay, 76. So maybe if it loses at 786, the max down would be the 0.886. We look for it to hold this trend line right here. It can take liquidity from the trend line because there are a bunch of stops down below here. It's going to be a stop there, stop here, stop there. So it can take liquidity over the trend line, but as long as it reclaims back above it, I would say that this would be good to take a shot on, at least to come back in one of these FBGs in here, fair value gaps there. Hit height. Okay, so we took this sell side liquidity right here. We got this sell side liquidity right here left to be taken. I'm gonna leave this just in case it could act as a little bit of resistance. So yeah, there's that sell side liquidity right there. The only issue I have with hyper liquid is if it doesn't do an SFP off of this sell side liquidity, I mean, this is the last low I have for it, which is going to be this trend line right here. Yeah. If it doesn't do an SFP, your stop loss has to be tight on that SFP too, because that's a long drop if it fails. Chain link I haven't looked at in a little while. It's a chain link did a 786 rejection. Did a 786 rejection nonetheless. Chain link would be back down here to this trend line right here. Let me see on the daily. Okay, it's pretty good. Yeah, we have to look for chain link to hold this trend line right here, which you can see this trend line comes from 2023 all the way up through here, and it has managed to do very well with capturing this trend line every time it got to drop into it, even that last one that we got there. So we got to hope for that again. If we're not getting that, then 910 it is. As long as we're not taking out this low right here. This is the bear market low territory for chain link. At least that's what it's supposed to be. So as long as we're not taking out this low, I would hate for us to break this trend line though. I really would hate for us to break this trend line. A lot of good stuff is happening with Chainlink, and I would just be buying more. I already shared that what I was doing here was buying these levels. Um, the 910 was uh, the last buy I got off of Chainlink, and I don't know. Maybe if it did this, I would still buy a little bit more, but it's very risky at that point. Um, if it does take out this low, it's very risky at that point. But here, let's just say it dropped down here today. We'll be looking. I'm gonna give it a little bit of leeway, about $12. So about $12 is what we want to hold in here. Maybe it takes this liquidity right here. Um, maybe it decides on this liquidity at this, and then you got that right there. So if it's not the $12, I mean, it's still pretty close. So maybe it does that and reclaims back up our trend line, but I'd really rather see it not disrespect our trend line since it has worked so well. So well, we're gonna start looking like ADA. And I can get rid of this stuff in here now. And 1203 is actually where 0.886 is located at. So we'll see how this works out for chain link down here. Because the golden pocket is definitely not working right now. I don't think I really need to get into any of the other ones. I don't think so. So with that said, oh, menu. Is there a specific exchange you want me to look at, Loza? I know it's going to be late before your response comes through, and I just switch the chart if need be. Spot looks really choppy. Let's see, tether. Ooh, first impulse move right there. This isn't it. I know. Maybe I did it wrong. Oh, Hold on, let me type something in right here. Is it not a crypto? I put it in bubbles and I couldn't find it. Let me try, CoinMarketCap. Oh, they got TSM as a tokenized stock on Ondo. How about that? As I was looking for your, token that popped up. Is it with an S? Rose, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find this. This is the only thing that came up. This reach price not tracked. Mm. Oh, is it Manchester? Okay. Interesting. Mm. Manchester feels like it's just gonna be another rejection, at least from that monthly time frame when I clicked on it, even though it had that bullish divergence at the low, that was giving it this current pump up that this, even though it had this bullish divvy right here that gave it this current pump up on this move back down, it indicates that any sort of move to the upside from this point is gonna be lackluster, and it's just gonna roll back over, uh, in the center of the range right now. It's so sideways, I couldn't give you any, like, there's no structure in here for me. I wish I could, give you something, there absolutely no structure in here. Let me zoom out, see if there's something to capture from down here. There's no structure, it just looks like it's gonna fail. I'm not gonna be able to go out too much further because the candles. Yeah, yeah, it's bearish. Got the rising wedge over here. Like I said, that monthly time frame looked like it was, gonna be lackluster move up here and that it was gonna drop to the downside. So I don't see any long-term analysis for me to give to you on this one right here, because it's just basically sideways. And this is pretty much it in terms of a range for it. Let me turn off that other one that I put in here. Time frame without long. New stadium plans and arena around stadium development and co-ops. Okay, all right. So the fundamentals is the biggest thing for you. Yeah, because the TA isn't giving me anything on it. I'm assuming you're accumulating whenever it comes below range. That's what I would do. I know you said that you've been doing it since 2020. Um, Which is good for me. Keep the prices. Thank you, Loza. And get some good rest. I'm about to get out of here too because there's really nothing happening right now with Bitcoin. We are pretty sideways. We're just trying to make sure we hold that 786 Fibonacci retracement level. And as long as we're doing so with that, we are extended on our 15, 1, and 4 hour time frame. Um, Crucial level here for Bitcoin on the daily time frame as well. If we lose that, then we would end up coming down towards that golden pocket, which is around 90,281. So that would be the liquidity that sits down in here. A little bit more liquidity to the upside than it is to the downside right now, but that doesn't stop market makers if they so choose to do so. We are still net positive on, when I take a look at IBIT, gamma positive, that would make a difference in everything. So I'm long right now from these lows. I'm long, which means my bias is that it does hold and get the push to the upside. That's my bias. It holds and we get the push to the upside. Just still trying to work out those kinks through here right now. I will tell you that on the 4 hour, well, no, you know what? Never mind. That's neither here nor there. Yeah, my bias is up. My bias is up. Market opens, it'll do some sort of a whipsaw type price actiony thing that it always does. Turn those off. And I don't think that there was any data in here for us to be concerned about today. Tuesday, let's see. Nope, nothing for us to think about today. Nothing today. Calendar this week. Anything that we're pausing for this week. Got Trump speaking tomorrow. That's at and he speaks at 8:30. Good Lord, 8:30 in the morning. That's going to be interesting. And besides that, Thursday we do have core PCE price index month over month, and we also have final GDP quarter over quarter. JPY stuff. If you're interested, that's going to be on Thursday as well. And then flash manufacturing on Friday. So not a lot really happening this week, with the exception of Donald Trump speaking. I think that's going to, if he brings up anything about these tariffs, that's going to be ugh, whirlwind right there for the market. And it's at 8:30 in the morning. It's right before markets open, traditional markets open. So wow, wow to that. Mm. All right, I need to get out of here. Um, Me staying another hour waiting for market to open while we're just sideways, and I've already gone through, really covered the stocks that I care to cover. I did not look at S&P, and I don't think that anything is happening here right now. S&P. Okay. Yeah, nothing that we all weren't already expecting for S&P. Um, it's just, this thing I covered. Got some. Yeah, it's fall. It's peer. Strong. Next. I think with this one right here, I think it's this one. Let me see. Daily, yeah. And as it is right now, I probably look for it to hold. Look for it to. I can just put my thing. That's the 673. I look for it to hold 673, but this is the place I'm looking for it to come back to. It worked there and here. It worked both times there. So if it does come down here and it takes out this level right here, which showed that it had momentum to get that final push up there, um, it doesn't hold there. Let's start back looking back here. And this line right here, this is just coming from what was this one right here? So it connected these two highs right here before we actually broke above it. And then we came back and we back tested it once there and we back tested it again right here. So I just watched this line again. But for starters, I mean, that was one break there. Second break would be here. And then this would be the third break. So looking for a bounce, I start there. And then anything I'm looking at for the Qs is, like, kinda far off from happening. That's that VWAP there at 565, but that I mean, that's far off. Right now, I would do the same thing that I just did, which is to say no violation. So if our strength came from here on this last push up, then I would expect for it to, be respected. Sure. Maybe you wanna consider some sort of an SFP off of that, but, I mean, yeah, I would go with this. This one hasn't exactly broken down just yet. Um, this one so far did pretty good for an SFP. Let me put in this account right here. From here, we're just gonna sort of remain range bound, from what I can tell. Yeah, this is gonna be our range from here. The market opens. And then if price comes back and it starts to break below this low right here, then it's expanding, okay? So that means you don't necessarily wanna touch it, um, until you start to see some strength again, because that could be relative weakness to come down for that golden pocket that I mentioned. On Binance chart, that's 90,597 to about 90,000, to about 89,000, 166. Again, my bias right now is long, therefore I am. And I get stopped out if I'm wrong and on to the next one. All right, with that said, I'm down to Crypto TA. I really appreciate you for stopping by today. I don't know. Just have to wait until market opens. We're coming into that in just a few minutes. I need to get myself together for market open personally. I love you, and I'll see you in the next round.